So weird. Am I live? Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. Oh, my spinning protein looks a bit weird. Let me move it upward a little bit, like that. Hello, how's everybody? Today, I'm going to talk about how to have a hobby job. Wait, my jade slips into my kimono occasionally, so let me know if it just disappeared. Okay, how to have a hobby job. I got this idea because I want to talk about this because I got a comment under a video who was apparently someone was very triggered by having a hobby job. Let me get that comment. Let me see where it is. Hello, welcome to the live stream. How are you today? I'm going to talk about having a hobby job. Because I got a comment saying doing art is a hobby job. And I'm going to talk about it. Let me find that comment in the meantime. And let me know if you can hear me well. If you can hear the microphone clearly. I am looking for that comment. Dun-dun-dun. Let me see where it is. First, I need to find that video. Let me see. Down there. Where is that comment? Oh, yeah. It is in a neurosurgeon video. Okay. Found it. It's here. If you are in the chat, say hello, let me know. Hi! Ahishek, how are you today? Thanks for coming by. Can you hear me properly? I need to do a sound check before I start the main show. How is everybody? Hi. Can you hear me well? Do I need to pull my microphone a little bit closer? I also have my spinning protein ready today. It is right here. Finally, I managed to get the transparent background. Good. Okay, good to hear. So I'm going to talk about I cannot talk. I'm going to talk about having a hobby job today. I will show you the comment that inspired me to do this topic. So, this person commented under my video calling me delusional if I think working a hobby job as an artist is anywhere even close to the stress and the burden that surgeons feel. This is under a video I talk about a neurosurgeon who quit his surgery job because he didn't feel like doing it anymore. I sometimes do these videos because they get way more views than scientific illustration videos. They get more views, that means more trolls would be passing by the video, so we get these type of crazy comment. Nobody was asking this person what they think, but they felt obliged to voice their opinion. out of nowhere. Nobody asked. One of the viewers, commented saying that this is a big problem not only in medical field but also in the art world. Yeah, so I asked, can you share more details? I'm curious, because occupational stress and burnout can happen in any field. Do you wear the classical Japanese male traditional dress? I do. I'm wearing kimono today. This is part of the perks of having a hobby job. Then I don't need to wear a uniform. There's no dress code for the job. I can wear whatever I want on my own channel. So I decided to wear a kimono today. And, on the thumbnail, I was wearing a kimono. When I took that photo, I was wearing a kimono. So, yeah. And you guys know the cool thing about kimono is they have their pockets underneath the armpit. I can literally put my entire phone into the armpit pocket and just walk around. I'm quite surprised the modern fashion have lost this art of armpit pockets. They're so handy. You can put so many things in there. I'm not judging, just asking. I know you're not judging. What do you think about kimonos? No, but I mean, like, it's great to do whatever I want on my own channel. That's why I love to have this hobby job. So I got this comment from this guy. This guy was definitely judging. He called us delusional for wanting to do a hobby job. And even close to the stress burden of the surgeon feels. Okay. Every job can be stressful. Like, dealing with clients can be stressful. So I don't know why this person feels so triggered by people calling their job stressful. So I just replied. I replied to them, you are delusional to think we would care about your unsolicited opinion, which is true. Other people, Sean also agree. Funny response. Yeah, because this person was very crazy. Nobody asked what they think, but they just came out of the woods and trying to shame us for wanting to do art. Okay. However, I do think they have a point. Scientific illustration is a hobby job. From my experience, it is better to do scientific illustration as a hobby job. It is better to do art as a hobby job. And I'm going to tell you why. So I think when people say hobby job, it means it is something that's more pleasurable and doing it for the sake of recreation. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's not anything wrong with doing what you find, doing what is fun, doing something fun and making money at the same time. But I think in contrast to a hobby job, most of the people have a job that they hate. I think when people, I would say, I assume this person have the concept of a job should be something serious. a job should be something that's hard. A job should be something that makes people miserable, which can be true. Most of the jobs will make people miserable. Most of the jobs are not fun. Many of the important jobs are not fun for most of the people. For example, accounting. Only a small percentage of the people who are super nerds about numbers would find accounting exciting. I find accounting exciting actually because I run a business and I have seen the power of accounting. I have some good accountants to help me, you know, just account my business, account for, just like to book the finance of my business. They have good knowledge about the tax system, so they can maximize the benefit you can get from the government. I find that really exciting. but I think for people who don't run a business, they will not find accounting exciting. I can add some music. All right, I'll turn the music on. Thank you for letting me know. Can you hear the music now? I turn the music very. Wait. I think I need to do setting. I need to adjust the setting so the music can go in. All right. A little bit higher. How about now? Okay. So most of the jobs are most of the people work for the sake of making a living. And I think most of the people are doing things they don't like to do. They might have a passion at the beginning, but after working at the same job for a few years, that passion would go away in most cases. So any job, if you work for a long time, it will become something that you find boring, and people will suffer if they cannot, move to the next level of their job or move to something that they find interesting. So I think that when I get this comment, I think this is what this person was projecting to us, that they have a miserable working life, and he thinks it's the only way to live, and that is the only way to make a living. I totally get it. If someone have a mortgage to pay, they have a family to support, they have to do many things that they don't like in order to make their ends meet. That will make people bitter. And I think a lot of people, they are not aware of their bitterness, so they project it onto other people who they perceive are not suffering the same thing. Let me read your comment. Abhishek, until and unless you can have the opportunity to say, where did I come? You aren't in the right place for my experience. Exactly. Like, they are commenter is not us. They don't know why we make this decision, and maybe we have different background as this person. So he's judging other people's situation from their own lens. That make him looks like a clown. That makes him looks like a clown in my comment. Yeah. Once you're on the internet, there are a lot of these trolls. However, I do think I do think they brought out a point that is quite important, which is scientific illustration is indeed a hobby job. So from what I have experienced working as a scientific illustrator, there is no industry. The industry of scientific illustration is not that big, and it is not a service that is an essential service. So you get a gig here, you get a gig there. It's not a very stable stream of income. In that sense, I would agree. Scientific illustration is a hobby job. It is for people who want to have artistic expressions, who have creative needs. And usually these things belongs to the category of hobby because most of the jobs do not want you to be creative. For example, if you work at a corporate job and you're very creative, you want to do things differently, they will try to stop you by all means. Because most of the people prefer to do things in a way that is written in a rule. For creative people, we like to do things different in a different way. Like we get excited when we try new things. So that will become a problem in a corporate job. So most of the creative work, creative jobs are not, systemized. So they are inevitably become in the category of a hobby job. Okay. And most of the jobs in the world are indeed serious job. You do it for the sake of money. You do it for the sake of earning a livelihood. Oh, thank you so much, Ahishek. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you for supporting my channel and my live stream. Thank you so much. And there are people who can have a hobby job. And there are people who want to have a hobby job. From what I see in Europe, many women, after they get married, they work part-time. So, they might start their own business, but part-time. They would work as a daycare center staff part-time. Because they have other responsibilities. They need to take care of the children. They also run the domestic of the household. So yeah. Sometimes hobby job is necessary. So, and there are also times when people really need to have a hobby job, which is during a transition of their career. There are many people who burn out. I think this is something more people should talk about. If you work, many people work in corporate burnout because it is not a natural environment for people to be in. In corporate, you cannot, you know, or at any job, when there's a group of people, you cannot be yourself. If you can be yourself at your job, you're lucky. Like you're in an environment where they appreciate you. But most of the time, and no, because people are insane. Your colleagues, your bosses might be insane. If you say you actually think, you will get in trouble with the HR. And this emotional labor of not being yourself at work makes people burn out. This is something that's on top of the stress. Let me turn the music down a little bit. So you might need to take a time off, and during that time, you can have a hobby job to still make a living. Maybe not as much as your previous job, but it can let you continue to have an income, and at the same time nourish your soul back to normal. I think if you guys, I don't know how many of you guys have already worked for a while. If you have entered the employment market for a while, I think you guys can then relate with these situations. A lot of people go crazy after working for a long time and they have to stop. It happens very common. I think very often we underestimated how many crazy people there are. 8, thank you for the comment. Animation is my hobby and I work in animation department. In R&D, use animation development as part of it. Oh, that's great. Do they allow you to make animation at your job? It is also a good way to start with a hobby job. Just you can do some projects for your your employer or the clients in your industry. You work because you work in VR research. Okay. Then these two fields, animation and VR, are hand in hand. Our technologies are hand in hand. That's great. And you find something of your hobby in the place you do your work. I think that's a good way to have a creative outlet. I would I think that's a very good way to navigate if you want to start a career in the creative hobby that you're doing. Just test it out at your current job. If it works, then you can transition into a hobby job. And while working part-time, while making your full-time career part-time. I see many people in the Netherlands does that. They negotiate with their bosses that they only want to work for 2 days per week or 3 days per week, and while they work on something else. And guess what? I worked in biomedical department only. Advisor specialized in VR for medical applications. That's great. Is it for what kind of VR do you guys use? Is it for surgery, like remote surgery? I saw there were surgeons practicing with VR with surgery. That is really cool. Okay. So that is what I think hobby job, it's a really important concept. People should know, because there are more jobs in the world than serious jobs. For training doctors, yeah, that's great. Where do you work at? Like which country? Do you think it's a good tool, VR, for training doctors? Um, so, I think for creative people, it's really difficult to work in a normal job because normal job is, like typical traditional jobs are very rigid. There's a protocol you have to follow. Otherwise, you will get into trouble with the manager and the HR. I got into a lot of trouble with the HR while I was working at the clinic. That was a problem of being a creative person. Because I would make jokes and then people around me would cannot understand it because they don't have the same type of humor. They would take it very seriously. Yeah. Also, like I would come up with new solutions that I think can, maybe make the scheduling system better, blah blah blah. And I talked to the senior colleagues or the bosses, and they really didn't like that. They don't like people who are their subordinates to have opinions. Like if you guys have worked in a big organization, you will experience that. Be smart about it. I think the smartest way to work in a big organization is to play dumb. I wish I knew this. Like just play that. Just play dumb. Like don't show your creative sides. Don't show that you're very efficient with your work. Don't have any opinion. Then you'll be safe. People are really crazy. They will like if you stand out in a group, people will start ganging up on you. It's a good tool, but right now VR winter is going on. Oh, what is VR winter? Is it because everybody is going for AI? There's an AI hype now. There used to be a VR hype a few years ago when the metaverse was out. Okay, this is also another thing. Do you guys think these new technologies, they all started as a hobby job? For example, VR, it was like nobody was using it at any serious jobs, So they developed these mainly for video games in the first place. And now they are being applied. Now VR is being applied in medical training. So many other innovation also started as a hobby job. It's not mainstream. VR died in 2017. Yeah, these. I mean, like, I think VR is a good technology, and people should keep on developing it because like it's good to have a hype because there's like a social recognition about what you're doing. But hypes are always very short lived. It's like a trend, so it shouldn't affect your passion on developing your hobby or developing what you think is important. Ahishek, which software do I use to create the HIV cycle in male anatomy? Can you link me to the video? Do you mean a tutorial that I have made? Or do you mean this spinning protein right here? in male anatomy. Did I make any of that in my content? Can you link me to the content? Abhishek, then I can tell you which software I used. All right. So now we have distinguished. Oh, you saw it on LinkedIn. Oh, that one. That was made. I made the virus in Adobe Illustrator, and I then animated in After Effects, Adobe After Effects. Should it edit on DC? Yeah, yeah. Link me in the Discord. So I can be 100% sure I'm answering you about the correct illustration. But I think I know which one you're talking about. That one was created with Adobe Illustrator and After Effects. Okay. All right. And then the topic of today on the video, on the live stream, is how to have a hobby job. So I'll get into the practical things about a hobby job that can help you to establish it. Okay. There are a few things you need to, there are a few things you need to prepare before you have a hobby job. Let me get my whiteboard. Oh, this was from last week. It's from last week, and I need to go get my tissue paper. So bear with me 1 moment. I also get a chance to walk with my kimono. Yeah, just so I had a little bit of fashion moment. Okay, let me erase it. What I wrote last week. Oh, but I can also give a review from last week, actually. Last week we talked about how to find clients. So and it is a continuation from the first live stream of Money Monday. How to make money with art. You need to find your audience, because your audience are looking for either a product that can solve their problem, or they're looking for a product which has emotional values to them. And usually your art creation will be in the second category, emotional value, which also linked to hobbies. Hobby is something that people have interest in. It might not have practical value, but it gives people some sort of emotional fulfillment. For example, if you have a sketchbook, if people finish a sketchbook, they feel happy because they made something beautiful and they feel like they have accomplished something. It is a very important emotion people need to have. At a job, people rarely get fulfillment. That's quite funny in a way, because you complete a lot of things at your job, but they feel more like duties. Things you accomplish at a job are duties. Like you're told to do. You have to do this. You're doing it out of obligations. But for hobbies, you do it do it from enjoyments. So these are emotional values. Hobby is less about doing something that solve a problem. It's not something practical, but it provides emotional values, and emotional values are important. It regulates your mental health, and for many people, it actually gives them a reason to continue to live on. No joke. Myself as an example, do you guys watch One Piece, the animation? So I do want to know how One Piece end. So, and the manga series, the manga is still continuing. Maybe for another decade. And like many people who wants to know One Piece end, they will try to live another decade, so they can see the ending. So these hobbies are very important things to keep people going in life. Yeah. All right. And from last week's live stream, we talk about how to find clients. In order to find clients, you need to find your audience. In the case of having a hobby job, it is a one way to find client. Because you can find clients from people who share the same hobby as you. So if you have a hobby of making sketchbooks, completing sketchbooks, you'll be able to find people online about the community of sketchbook. Like, people are passionate about it, and you share information about sketchbooks. And if you create a product, if you create a sketchbook, they might buy it, because these people like to put colors into empty lines. That's one good way to find your audience for your art. And I'll erase part of it. This was called trust here. And in order for people to buy your product, you need to build a relationship with them so they can trust you. And starting your side hustle as a hobby job has an advantage of building trust among people, because they see that you share the same hobby. It gives you and your potential clients something in common. You have more to talk about. That will be a good way to build trust. So these are the things that that is corresponding to what we have talked about in the past 2 weeks. So having a hobby job can be a good way to find your audience and start selling your art. All right. Now, I will list a few things that are important before you start a hobby job. You need to get these things ready before, making your hobby a job, before you make money from your hobby. But first, let me check the message from Hishek. Posted something interesting. Oh, this one. This was made in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, I'll show you guys what he meant. What they meant. So this is one of the illustration I created while studying at the scientific illustration master degree. This is a combination of Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. The rendering highlight of the male anatomy was done in Photoshop. But the outline and most of the outlines are created in Adobe Illustrator. So this is one of the assignment in my assignment I've done while studying my master degree. This was so many years ago. Where did I put this on LinkedIn? Oh my god, I totally forgot about it. Thanks for bringing back the old memory, Shitek. Thank you for your donation, and thank you for finding the old archive I put on LinkedIn. Yeah, do you like it? Took so long to finish it. I remember one of the how do you call that? One of the professor had some comment about the position I put of the rectum. Like he wanted me to change it last minute, and I went a little bit crazy about it because I already put so much work in it, and now you're telling me. Art school makes people crazy. Okay. Let me switch the screen again. Where's my face? And I will also move the protein over here. Let's let the protein spin underneath the whiteboard. Okay, about hobby job. You guys can type your question into the chat while I go through the points about having a hobby job. Okay, the first thing is have a hobby. I know it might be, yes, I know it sounds very ironic, but I hope all of you have a hobby already. Many people don't have a hobby, but they want to have a job that is based on a hobby. You know, then the whole thing become, then you turn the whole thing upside down. If you want to have a hobby job, it should be something that you're already doing before you monetize it. I see this happens a lot to people who make videos on social media. They want to, they think being an influencer is a cool thing and can make a lot of money. So they get into it. So they get into making content and videos. But but it should be the other way around. You should be having a passion about making videos and building a community. So you get into making content on social media. There's a difference in the intention, and there will be difference in how far you can go. Inevitably, there will be difficult things happening in your business, in your hobby job. If it is not a hobby that you have passion about, you would give up on it. So it is really important to have a hobby that you really have a passion about. You know, just when you do it, you have joy. It nourishes your soul. You should not do it for the sake of money. You should not do it for the sake of getting approvals. Yeah, this is what I see many people getting into these type of art, like art or hobby jobs, because they think that excuse me, they want compliments they want compliments on their artwork, so they think they should make it a job. Um, when you make something a job, you will get customer complaints, so you will not get what you're looking for. Okay. um, so make sure it is something you have passion about. It is you actually have a hobby. Okay. Then the second thing is find your community. Find your hobby community where people who share the same interests are gathering at. Doing a business is a very social activity. People need to know you in order to pay you. If they don't know you, they will not trust your ability, they will not trust your character. So they will not, agree on any project with you. So if you want to make your hobby into a job, you should not be doing your hobby alone. You should go out there to find other people who share the same hobby with you. Find that community. Uh, should I? I'll move. Let me move the whiteboard here a bit so you can see the why. Find your community. This is really important because I made this mistake before when I was younger. I was very bad at finding people who are interested in me and people who have common interest. When I was younger, I will look at what is cool, what I think is cool, and I try to blend in. That will never work. And now I'm better at just be myself, and the people who vibe with me will naturally become friends, will naturally become a community. Okay, so this is a very important part. Just just go out there and share what makes you happy, what activity makes you happy, and find the right community. All right. And in the meantime, I will give a heart to Ahishek's donation. Thank you so much. You make me really happy today. Ahishek, thank you for supporting me to continue doing the live streams. And also attending live stream all the time. Very appreciated. Okay. Now the third point, which I think is the most important. Find your sponsor. I have 4 stars written there surrounding your sponsor. What does a sponsor mean? A sponsor means someone who can help you financially. So either they can pay part of your rent, either they can pay for your livelihood, or they would invest in the business that you're building. Okay? Why is that important? Oh wait. First, let me like be even more specific. So, who can be sponsors? From what I saw, realistically, among my scientific illustrator artist peers, who are the sponsors? Their parents, their partners. Partner means spouse, husband, wife, domestic partners. Or they have someone older to help them out. Guys, this is the reality of having a hobby job. A hobby job usually does not generate enough income to support oneself. So the people you see are able to continuously doing it without being homeless or starving is because they know how to get a sponsor. Most of my classmates at the scientific illustration program eventually married a European person to get their residency. I'm the only one who did it through my own company. Okay, most of my classmates married for visa. All right. Or they in the Netherlands you don't have to get married to get a visa, but you can. Why do I someone's calling me. That's weird. I can't answer the phone right now. Let me turn it off. Okay. And I know, okay, continue the story. There is a scientific illustrator from Taiwan. I'm not going to name any names. She's a medical illustrator. She called herself a medical illustrator. And she used to be a doctor, but she didn't go through a specialization training. Then she went to get a. She went to do a summer course at Stanford to, get some graphic design training. It's called it like social, like life design. I forgot what type of design that was. And somehow she found a boyfriend there who is a software engineer. It seems like he's a software engineer. Looks like a nerdy guy, blah, blah. And then somehow they decided to get married. And then she got her green card and moved to the US after like 2 years of long distance. And now she works as a scientific illustrator. She works as a medical, and now she works as a medical illustrator. And I see occasionally she fights with her clients. She complains about her clients on Facebook. Once she also got into a lawsuit. Yeah, but she decided not to be a doctor anymore, but become a medical illustrator. And she found a husband who works in California. So that's not the only case I've seen who work as a scientific illustrator. So if you want to have a hobby job, it is very important that you have other type of support. Either let me my jade went into my kimono. So either through, you know, your it's very like through your parents, generational wealth, or through your spouse who supports you, or yeah, find someone who's wealthy to help you out. That's the most of the cases of people who have a hobby job that can still, live comfortably and sustain themselves. That's the case. What I see. That's the case I see in most cases. Yeah. And I think the third point, find a sponsor, is the most important one. Just convince someone to support your vision. Like a startup company CEO. Most of CEO also just, they go out to pitch an idea that seems to be very helpful to the world, to the humanity. And if they're convincing enough, there will be investors who would put hundreds and 100,000, a few 100,000 euros, even millions, into their ideas. Then they can build their company based on these investments. So this is what they're doing in the Silicon Valley. And I think the same mentality can also, apply in having a hobby job. If you're able to find a sponsor and convince them the vision of your hobby job that is attractive enough for them to sponsor you, then you can, develop your hobby job. Yeah, that is what I observed from my peers. So, I hope everybody can find their sponsors and being able to have the type of hobby job they want. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? The neurosurgeon I talked about in the YouTube video also has the support from his family and his wife. In his video, he confessed that he went before he quit. He did ask his wife, like, should he do it, and he does have her support. So even neurosurgeon needs a support if he wants to, just go hiking in the wild with his dog and make YouTube videos. So you should also do the same. Try to find your sponsor. Some people might call it, the sponsor, you can call them, just your investors, a lovely person. They can be your parents, your spouse, your partner, or it can be a art foundation who provides grants to artists. And some would then call them sugar daddies, sugar mommies. Yeah. Many sugar babies have hobby jobs. Like they have a dog grooming salon, or they have a what else? What other hobby job does sugar babies and rich housewives have? Like they run a charity foundation. Sometimes like when you're very wealthy, having a hobby job becomes a status symbol instead of something that people look down to. Yeah, most of the rich, like most of the millionaire, billionaire wives, they run a charity foundation. It's a lot of work to arrange charity functions. And I think many art gallery sponsors are also, billionaire wives. For example, Nita Amani. She's the billionaire wife of the richest man in India. She opened an art center somewhere to showcase Indian art. I think also the Princess of Qatar. I think the Queen of Qatar or Princess of Qatar is also open many art museum and galleries. Yeah. I guess those are also considered hobby jobs. Okay. Yeah, but the important thing is like find your sponsor. Have a hobby, find a community, and find your sponsor. Okay. Do you guys have more questions? Any question from you guys? Next week on Monday, I will talk about how to prepare a portfolio. Because in the Discord, some of you have asked me about it. You can, if you guys are interested, you can also join the Discord. I will put it in the chat. It's quite fun to see the chat from you guys. Discord link. I will also make summaries of the chats. I will also make summary of the live streams in the Discord, because also some people have asked about it. I think it's also a good thing to make the points so people can further discuss on it. I know not all of you can come to my live stream on time. Tomorrow, I will be having a lecture about how to make a graphical abstract. This is also a topic that people voted for. So I'll go through the guideline by nature and what they request in their graphical abstract. So you guys can come by if you want to learn more about making graphical abstract. And on Wednesday, I found a really interesting paper from Turkey about what type of personality makes toxic people. So I just find it really interesting, so I'll talk about it. And okay, I'm also going to Greece next week, so I will be streaming from Greece. So if you guys want to join me on my trip to Greece, make sure you come by next Tuesday and Thursday. I think I'll do art shopping a little bit on Greece during my Greece live stream, and on Wednesday, yeah, I'll also be streaming from Greece next Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. All right. So if you have more questions, you can DM me on social media, email me, or join my Discord. Ask them in Discord. Oh, people are checking in. Hi. Do you have any questions about having a hobby job? I will make a summary point in my Discord. But before I go, I'll just summarize what I have talked about. So how to have a hobby job. First, you need to have a hobby. You really need to know what your hobby is. Have a passion about it. And then find the community. Find the hobby community. People who share the same hobby as you. For example, if you like coloring books, then find the local community or online community of people who love coloring books. Okay. And the third one, I think, is the most important, is to find a sponsor who can support you with your hobby job. The sponsor can be your parents, can be generational wealth, can be your spouse, or an art foundation, or someone older who believe in your vision. Okay? All right. If you guys have no more question, then I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's live stream about making graphic abstract. Oh, hello, AX. How are you? Hello. I saw your comment, like when I was roasting a crazy person. Thank you for the support. You're good. Hey. I thought you were my high school friend. Are you? Yeah. Because I screenshot the crazy person post and I sent it to my high school friend, and immediately you commented. So I thought you were the same person, but apparently no. Maybe in a parallel universe. Yeah, it could be. That would be nice, right? But like, where are you based? I know you told me a long time ago, but I really don't remember. I think it looked like you're from Taiwan, but yeah, you haven't come to my live stream for a while. I don't remember anymore. It's complicated. That's right. That's all right. That's all right. Oh, you live in Hong Kong. That's cool. I just met, I think a few days ago I also met someone from Hong Kong. I was talking about how to have a hobby job, and the third one is find your sponsor. What do you think about that? It's just from what I saw, most of the people who do art has the support from their family. They have a trust fund, generational wealth, or they have a spouse who is working and they do their hobby job from home. Or they, it can also be supported by grants or art foundation, or they have a sugar daddy. That's the reality. That's what I saw. Okay. As long as sponsor has an ethic business model in your opinion. Oh, is having a sugar daddy or sugar mommy a ethical business model? Is that an ethical business model? But if you think about it, yes, there you go. Yeah. So I yeah, I think if everybody is clear on the condition terms and condition, then it is ethical, right? Let's go to Miami to find a sugar daddy. It's really competitive over there, from what I heard. You need to look a certain way. Like you have to have lip injections, you know, BBL, and boob jobs. That's what I heard from Adam22's podcast. No jumpers. It is very competitive there. You need to invest in yourself a lot before you could even get the ticket in. Sugar daddy pre-med entrance requirements. Is that true? I wouldn't be surprised because medical school is so expensive. And I heard, I don't know, I just saw on TikTok, if you come from a doctor family, they will ask that do you have doctors in your family? And if you have, it could be an advantage or disadvantage. I don't know. While I was working with doctors, most of their family members are also doctors. It is really a generational thing. But Alex, what do you mean sugar daddy is a pre-med entrance requirement? It was crafting a playful metaphor. What do you mean by that? Sugar daddy pre-med entrance. Oh, okay. Now I get it. You should say plastic entrance requirement. I'm just quoting what I have heard on podcasts. Like it is very competitive over there. But indeed, a lot of millionaires and billionaires have moved to Miami because of the. I think they don't have federal tax or something like that. I know Peter Thiel has moved to Miami too. Peter Thiel, he's like a founder of PayPal. He's married to a guy, but allegedly his boyfriend fell off from the balcony last year. Probably since Florida is very red. Could be, yeah. No, I think it's mostly because they have the least tax on wealthy people. Dave Portnoy also moved to Miami. That is an unfortunate story. It's an alleged story. Like, allegedly, that is his Instagram model boyfriend. It's not like even for sure. It's all just gossip and rumors. Yeah, but that's one thing. You know, like it relates to the topic today. Like having a hobby job, you need to have a sponsor, and that Instagram model did have a sponsor. I think he also got a mention in Miami. Allegedly. Let's look at the story together. Okay. Do you guys know Peter Thiel? Peter Thiel. Do you guys know him? He's recently on Joe Rogan podcast. The Joe Rogan Experience. Let me see where it is. Join demo. Feel like you heard the name before. He's one of the founders of one of the richest person in the world. He's the founder of PayPal. Okay. I think first I need to introduce who Peter Thiel is. Peter Thiel. Not boyfriend, just Peter Thiel. Okay. So this is him. He's an American entrepreneur, venture capitalist, and political activist. He is behind J.D. Vance, the vice president candidate of Donald Trump. Okay. Peter Thiel, he was recently on Joe Rogan's Experience. He tells Joe Rogan why California is kind of like Saudi Arabia and hasn't self-destruct despite wokeness. Anyway, so yeah. And also in the podcast, he told Joe Rogan he moved to Miami. Okay, let's get into the model boyfriend. There, Peter Thiel's Instagram model boyfriend plunged to his death weeks after witnessing messy showdown between the billionaire mogul and his husband while crashed couple's New Year bash. Immediate red flag. Oh, you think so? Well, definitely red. Peter Thiel went to the Republican convention, so he's definitely red. Okay, married billionaire mogul Peter Thiel, whose male model boyfriend. So he's married, but he also has a boyfriend. Jeff Thomas died after plunging from a Miami, as you mentioned, Alex, high rise last month. So this is probably the most sugar baby way to die. They had a 3-year relationship with Peter Thiel, who put him up in a $13 million mansion tucked in the Hollywood Hills. Hollywood Hills, is that in LA? Looks like it's in LA. Gifted him lavish European trips, 300,000 sports car, and access to the most coveted party in town. So this is the Instagram model. He's clearly having a hobby job. So this is one way of finding a sponsor, like what I've just illustrated for you guys. Okay. So being an influencer definitely is a type of hobby job. And there are people who do it professionally, but I think most of the people do it as a hobby job. Okay. So even though the model has a sponsor, he still has suspected suicide related to at least part of his depression. So you can have a billionaire sponsor and still have depression. Okay. So Thomas was one party goer at Posh held at Theo's Miami compound. So this is what I mean, Alex, by it is very competitive in Miami. Okay. Like you have to at least look like this to even have a possibility. It is very competitive over there, so do consider. But you don't need to have millions of followers. You can only have 120,000 followers. So this is also part of what I meant by, when you're trying to find a sponsor, just find some way to convince them your vision of the hobby job. Like, how can it benefit the humanity, and just make it appealing in some way. Like, you don't have to be so exceptional. Like, you don't have to be extraordinary. This is one of the case. You don't have to be extraordinary in order to sell your vision. Okay. Right. This is Peter Thiel and the actual husband. Right. So apparently but he died. So this is also something that you really should be careful about your sponsors. Like, there might be some downside of having a sponsor. There's no free lunch, as people said. Yeah. Okay, that's that. I'm going through this because Alex was talking about Miami and Sugar Daddy. So this is one example. All right, let me switch back to all right. Okay, now Next week I will talk about portfolio because you guys have asked about it in Discord. So like, what do you need to prepare for your portfolio? Um, and also like, I think portfolio not only is important for finding your audience, finding your potential clients, finding applying for school, applying for jobs. It is also important if you want to sell your vision to your sponsors. It could be to your parents, it could be your spouse, it could be your sugar daddy, sugar mommy, whoever. You need to have a portfolio. If they cannot see a proof, they will not buy it. Okay, that's what we'll talk about next Monday. And I'll be streaming tomorrow about graphic abstract, and on Wednesday about what's Wednesday about a research article. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Wish you guys a nice evening.